Hello everyone, welcome to this special episode. So today we have two special guests here in Tunisia. We have الباسط and Yusuf. So they are going to talk about their career, and we will try to give some advices to students and to beginners to get started in software engineering field. So let's get started.
So me and Abdulbasط, we are Android engineers at Hunger Station in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
We're both senior Android engineers there.
So you're working together?
Yeah, we're in the same Android team, but both of us and many other engineers in Hunger Station, we have our own squads, our own teams, where we are responsible for some part of the application, some feature or some business domain, you could say.
Okay.
So I work at Quick Commerce, which is kind of grocery shopping in the Hunger Station, and Abdulbasط works in EdTech, which is advertisement technology. So the advertisements, like the promotions of the vendors, of the restaurants in the Hunger Station application are done by his team. And the funny thing is that I actually was in EdTech team and Abdulbasط replaced me in the EdTech team. I joined like a year ago, and like after several months he joined. So I've been working at EdTech for some time, and then when he joined, he actually took my place and I went back to QC.
Perfect.
Yeah, so...
Can you talk about Hunger Station a bit? So I understand what...
Yeah, let me give you a background on Hunger Station. So Hunger Station is the biggest food delivery app in Saudi Arabia. Okay. So, for example, in Tunisia, you have Glovo, right? Glovo, which is food delivery and goods delivery as well, like grocery shopping, everything is provided in Glovo. Hunger Station is the alternative of Glovo in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I see.
And both Glovo and Hunger Station, and for example also Talabat, which is more like widespread in Arabic countries, like in Egypt or UAE. All of them are subsidiaries of the Delivery Hero, which is the. I don't think it is like. It does have some country which it belongs to, but the headquarters of Delivery Hero are in Germany, in Berlin. Yeah. But the founders are from Sweden, as far as I remember, and the biggest entities are all around the world. So Delivery Hero has the businesses in Korea, in South America as well, like the Argentina and Uruguay, and in MENA region, and of course in the Europe. So basically, it's a global company, company that operates everywhere. Yeah. And we're part of this global company in Saudi Arabia. So like we don't directly work at Delivery Hero, we work at Hunger Station. Yeah. But Hunger Station is tightly coupled to Delivery Hero. Yeah, like we do lots of things, even technology. We have lots of technologies that are provided with Delivery Hero, so we don't have to kind of create it from scratch. We just use what they already have. Okay. Because again, the main domain, the main business of Delivery Hero is the food delivery. They don't do, this. It's basically not the company that does everything. It just focuses on single goal and tries to do it like perfectly. Yeah. Delivering food in the first place, and then also some grocery and other kind of domains. But the food delivery is the main business of Hunger Station. Okay. And the Delivery Hero as well. So we joined almost a year ago, I guess. Yeah. Right? So we've been there in Saudi Arabia. Both of us moved to Saudi Arabia for this job. So yeah. That's it about the Hunger Station.
For me, starting with Android was like it starts around when I was in 7th semester. Yeah. So basically, I had a friend, and in 7th semester, so we had semester break. So he wanted to if we can have some internship. So there was a company who was offering the internship, and there were just 3 options. So the first one was web development, and the second in PHP at that time, and the second was Android development. So in 7th semester, so I already had a course on Android. So for me, that was the best option because I didn't want to go with PHP. So I started the Android, and after that, I had my FYP kind of. I had another FYP in C#.NET, but aside from my FYP project, so I was also exploring Android and doing some FYP stuff. And after that, when I got graduated, so because I already had experience with Android, and I was also doing some freelancing after the graduation. So then I started searching for jobs and those things. And I think after 3 or 4 months when I graduated, so I got an internship at a company in Islamabad in Pakistan. So I went there, and then I started with Android. And I think since that I'm stuck with Android, and in the middle, so I was thinking of like switching towards backend, explore like Node.js and those things. So I was trying to do that, and I was also learning the iOS. But I feel like I was procrastinating. Like I had a lot of courses that I wanted to explore, but I couldn't start with that. And after that, I stumbled upon the KMP, Compose Multi-Platform, and then I started with that. And so like it's still going on, and this is how like my whole journey was.
Okay, perfect. So you've worked as a freelancer in your when you were studying or after graduation?
So after graduation, because I was applying for different jobs, but I couldn't crack something. So in the meanwhile, I started freelancing, like picking different projects. So I think I did on 3 to 4 projects that I completed, and one was a matrimonial project. So from like I started from 0 to 100% and delivered it, and there were some other projects.
So this was helpful to get your internship.
Yes, it was really helpful, because at that time, normally company expects if you are trying to do internship in something, so they want you to know about it. So because I was working on those projects, so I already had like a know-how of those the Android stuff and those things. So it was really beneficial for me to get the job and get the internship due to that experience.
Yeah. Okay. So like before Anchor Station, before Saudi Arabia, so how did you started your career?
Yeah, so basically I think the story is very much alike what Abdulbasط has told. So for me also, like starting IT career was not really my goal from the very beginning, from my childhood. I know that many programmers, they already know they're going to be programmers when they're kids, right? Because their parents buy them computers, or someone has computer, then start playing around and doing something. And then it's like inevitable for them to become engineers or IT specialists. For me, that wasn't the case. I don't really recall like who I wanted to be when I was a kid, but not programmer for sure. Because to be honest, I didn't really know that such profession exists.
Okay, I see.
I learned about it when I started to go to the university. So we had the preparation year.
So what year was that, so we can understand how the world was at that time?
It was in 2013. So 2013, like I was still in the high school or middle school. I was finishing middle school, starting the high school. And at the same time, like university I chose, it allowed you to do part-time studying. So like in the first half of the day, I would be at my school. Then in the second, I could go to the university, take some courses. So they had pre-university courses as well. Like before even starting university, you could prepare for the university itself.
That's interesting. Like I like the idea, honestly. So here in Indonesia, it's quite different, because in high school, especially in the last year, students are really focusing on getting the highest degree possible. So they doesn't care even about the university, about anything else. So even if you give them this chance to study, to prepare yourself for the university, they're not going to take it. They want to get the highest degree and to put all of their time to...
But these grades that they get for their final exams at high school, does this affect their university chances? No?
Yeah, like that's the only thing that will affect their university.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think this is the difference between the educational systems, because I think even in Saudi Arabia there is something like this. Like students really care about the final exams. That's why they have to prepare, and there are some businesses that, like some startups that help for that. But in my country, basically, yes, your grades will affect, but they will affect only if you are, as far as I can remember, if you're trying to go to governmental university.
Oh, I see.
If it's private university, then there is still going to be a university like admission and the exam for the university itself. So even if you like had great grades at school, but you failed the exam, you're not getting any chances. Basically, at least for the university I chose, which was a private university, it was the case that I had to prepare for it, like for this university specifically. I saw that they had this course, pre-university courses, and basically if you studied there and you were successful, you'd be taken to the university without any exam. So once I got into the university, like the first year for me was part-time. So I would still go to high school because I didn't finish it yet. And in the afternoon I would go to my university like courses. So for that reason, like the first year for me, the duration was 2 years because it was part-time. So And in the university, finally, like let's get back to IT, right?
Yeah.
I discovered there is an IT, there is information technologies, programming.
Yeah.
Because before, like this abstract idea was that okay, I'm gonna go to the university, study English, and then maybe become a manager. Out of sudden, like I know English, like arrow, I become manager somewhere in the hotel or somewhere, right? I didn't really like had the up to date image of the world.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
How does the world work? So, and then I figured out that I don't know anything about IT. Like, I even wasn't like that proficient with the computers. Like, of course, I could play games, but I wasn't even able to, do some formatting on Microsoft Word or something like this. For my courseworks, when I had to, format the work, my friends at university would help me to format it. So, I started to look for IT courses, like whatever could help me to prepare for the, for my courses at the university. I wasn't even thinking about career in the first place. I just wanted to make get good grades at the courses in the university. So I found this Android course, which was organized by the university student.
Nice.
Basically, there was not any specific goal to become Android engineer. Like I just saw this course, okay, let's go for it. If it was PHP course, if I found PHP course, I'd be a PHP developer. Yeah. So one thing I noticed that in that summer course for IT I took, there were around 10 people studying there, but at the end of the day I was the only one who kind of continued the career. I don't I just thought I don't have much things to do anyways. Things already got settled down. University was not that hard because it was part-time. I had very little amount of courses. So I decided that I have to finish this course. I don't want to waste my 3 months I spent there and try to get internship. And I got it on the first try, kind of. Even though first try means that I applied for tens of positions. IT market at that time was not that big. So I applied for many positions and only one of them kind of invited me for an interview, which was a technical interview. They just, talked to me. And I remember I went 3 or 4 times to their office and I had to wait for several hours for their CEO or whoever was there, for the manager to come. He wouldn't come. I had to go back home. And after a week, I would get contacted with them. I would contact them and ask can I come again? Can we make an interview? They would say, okay, come to the office. I'll come again. The guy will not appear, and I go back home. In fact, it was pretty stressful because I had to wait for a month, and at the end of the day, they hired me. It was an internship that was nice. I would go to the office in the morning, and in the afternoon I would go to the university. For my courses.
So even after finishing high school, the university is still part-time?
I know, this was the funny thing. So I was at my last year at the high school. I didn't finish it yet. At the same time, I was studying part-time at the university. And now I got my job, right? My internship. So the timeline does not really fit because in the morning I have to be at the high school. In the afternoon I have to be at the university. Also in the morning the job is expecting me to come to the office. So basically, this is the moment when corruption in the government enters the chat. I talked, not I, but my father talked to the director of my high school. They somehow settled this down. But I can just come whenever they needed me. Whenever there was some check. For exams, something like this. And the rest of the time I was working because they knew that I was a very I wasn't some gangster. I was not going to go out and do some stuff. I was working basically. I was doing internship. So they let me do this, but maybe we'll have to cut this part, not to ruin the image.
I think rules are not shouldn't be straight. I think sometimes you can just change the rules to have a better results.
I can see in this topic the difference between educational systems and how this affects the career because the first several years when you are just learning your profession, it's very important because many people, I think they get it wrong. They kind of do only the studying. At university or at some course, they don't do practical stuff. And sometimes the system itself forces them to do this, right? Sometimes the exam is too harsh, so you don't have enough time to do some practical work, for example.
Also, I think more people like to be in governmental universities, right? Like that's the preference, right? So if you want to be there, so you want more marks, like because the competition is tough. So in that way, like you are forced to be study like more. And from when you were doing the university and you got the internship, right? So how many years of education you had? Like, because you are running in parallel, right? Like you are doing your studies and you are part-time courses. So
basically, I just started it. So I had 4 years ahead, and I basically started working when I was already studying. And like funny thing, like Abdul told us about his first job after university, right? When I graduated from university, I got a new job and I was already senior engineer. But the funny thing is that it was 6 years ago. From for this 6 years, my title didn't change. I'm always senior engineer because the senior title also means different things in different companies, right? In smaller company, it's easier to become senior engineer. In bigger companies, it means some different things. You know, it's harder to get.
That's true. Like I think for beginners, it's always like it's better to go to smaller companies. It's easier to get more experience.
It depends. It depends, to be honest. Because like I personally had lots of experience in small companies for a long time. And the problem there is that you need to study lots of things yourself, like independently. And you kind of learn things in a hard way. You make mistakes and then you learn from them. True. And you try to not to repeat it in the next company, right? But it's hard.
Just like iterating on that. But I think it also gives you an edge, right? Because if you're working in a big and stable company, so the things are already set up, like it's like a paved road, right? But when you're in a startup, so you explore things and you fail, and you and also you don't have to ask for many permissions, right? Because as the company gets bigger, so it gets more corporated. So there's a lot of checks and those kind of stuff. So it takes a lot of time. Like sometimes the development time is less, but the alignment and those things, so it takes more time as compared to the development. So if you are working in a small startup and like they're starting new, right? So in that case, you can learn a lot. Like there is a lot to explore and set up and those things. You can see the skill.
My point was about the mentorship.
You cannot get.
In small companies, you like basically usually even if you are junior engineer, you're the only person who works at your department, right? And you have to study everything yourself. It's good if you are active and you're trying to learn. Like even for my career, I don't regret anything. It was nice. Like as Abdul said, I learned lots of things myself because I had this chance. Like company wouldn't limit me, and if I was interested in something, in some new technology, I would go and learn it and use it in my work because no one checks my work, right? I'm the only one. I own everything. Like the biggest step that you need to make is to show up. Come to the event, come to the lesson, come to something, right? Many people they don't they basically lose the lose the battle even before starting it. They just give up. Okay, it's not gonna work anyways. I'm not gonna go. They think, okay, what's the point? Like, I'm not gonna get a job from this event or from this lesson. Or in terms of internship, okay, I have some interesting things to do. They're not paying anyways, for example, right? But most of the times, in any project or any activity you're doing, show up. Start doing is the main thing that you need to start. Like you don't have to worry about are you going to be good at it or not, because this is the I think the most common thought, right? We are afraid of losing, and we don't even start doing things just because we're afraid of losing. But this is the biggest loss. You don't even try.
I think like sometimes if you open any tutorial in YouTube or something, like you find the first video 1 million view. And the last video there is 10K.
Exactly.
It's it gives you like a big consistency is the key, as Abdullah said.
And I think there was I forgot the principal name or something. So they say that to be expert in something, so you need some specific hours. Like I think it's so if you calculate that, I think it's
10,000 hours.
Something like that. So if you do that, so in that way you will be expert in that field. And I personally I feel like if you want to do anything and if you give it like some specific time, anything can be achieved. Like nothing is like even the rocket science, like they say rocket science is difficult, but it's not difficult because if you give it specific time, everything become easy because now you are expert in that field and you know things.
Yeah, just give it the correct.
The correct time and.
I remember when you talked about hours. I remember like past days. I was several years ago. I was playing video games, and that's how it was. In Steam, you have this feature of how many hours did you play in the game, and me and my friends were comparing ourselves who played more hours. You are the most experienced.
I think Android Studio have to introduce such feature, like how many hours you make coding.
Are you expert or not?
Maybe a plugin can do the job. And how you've been there, like how you make the decision to go to Saudi Arabia, to go to Riyadh?
I think Yusuf, you can go first.
Yeah.
And I will.
Yeah, sure. So I've been working remotely for most of my career. When I just graduated from university, I got the remote jobs. So, but at some point, like I started remote work before it became a big thing during COVID. Like I started getting remote jobs in 2018, 2019. And in 2021, 2022, it like became like huge. They started paying a lot, right? You could get job from Europe or US, and you could get like lots of money. And it was very good time. But in 2023, it became more challenging. For some reason, I left my job at that time, and I was trying to run my own startup, also on educational topic.
Education programming?
We were basically teaching people programming. And the project is still running. I had co-founder. I was a co-founder, but the main founder, he's still running the project.
Okay, nice.
But I didn't have my job. Like I already left my job, and I was doing this full time. Trying to do. But at some point, I saw that I gotta go back to programming because I still need to make money, and I'm not really doing my best still running this startup. So I'll try to get some programming job.
I see.
So and at that time, I applied for Hungry Station's position. It was very interesting because like whenever you open LinkedIn, you see that any jobs, especially in Saudi Arabia or in UAE, like the second they're published, the advertisements published, they already have 1,000 applicants, right? Like if really you open publish like today in the morning, it already has 1,000 applicants. But it was surprisingly interesting situation. So LinkedIn sometimes offers you a free message, premium feature, which is contacting anyone once with a free message. Otherwise, you have to add this person contacts. He has to accept you. You cannot contact them.
And so on.
Right. I didn't have premium, but I got this like free message.
Nice.
And
three shots.
Only one. Only one.
Okay.
So I contacted Hungry Station's HR with that shot. I contacted Mayada. So she responded. We set an interview and everything started. But even before that, a year before that, I already applied for Hungry Station's position. It was in Dubai. I had an interview. I failed the interview at that time. But then second time, I got second chance, only one shot, this free message. I contacted. Everything went smooth. We had several rounds of interviews, and they decided to hire me.
For me, the reason for Saudi Arabia was that I wanted to work with scale. So in my work experience, so I was mostly working with startup work with Wesbel, Airlift, and Sadape. But also there was a lot of things happening in Saudi Arabia. There is, they are opening they are kind of now the IT revolution kind of is coming into Saudi Arabia, and there is a lot of startups opening and investing coming. So that is where I wanted to be. So some times ago, I started my interview with Talabat. There was a position for Android, but after initial interview, so the position got closed, and then I got a message from Hungry Station HR that we have an Android position. So I said, okay, that's what I wanted, right? So, but I think it was the post-COVID time, so the companies were struggling and those things. So the interview started, but after that the position got closed again. I think it was back in January or February, something like that. And after some time, so I got the I saw an opening in Hungry Station. So I messaged the HR that I see that we have a position and I'm interested in that. And they said, okay, and they started the process. So I think I completed that. And after that, like the visa process and those things started. And and at that time, like I had my ear surgery, so I couldn't travel. So I wait a bit, and when everything was better, so then I shifted.
Oh, okay, nice, interesting. And how do you work there? So how is the routine of the working there? How you pass your day in Hunger Station?
So in Hunger Station, so basically we do the I forgot the name of like you. The Scrum, we like mostly follow the Scrum kind of strategy. So we have 2-week sprint, and in that we try to pick the stories that we that we want to work on that. And before, like when we pick the stories, so first we work on that. Like we have product managers, we have EMs, so they come with solution the proposals, like this is what we want to achieve, and the whole team discuss that. And once like we get a proposal, like this is the thing, this is the impact that we will be having by having this feature. And once everything is like properly developed, like we know that this is the impact, these are the time that it will take, and if it makes sense, because sometimes it takes a lot of time and the impact is not that much. So once everything is finalized, so after that we start working on that, and we try to like work on small chunks, like develop something small and try to like not a big feature in like just a big goal, small sprints, and try to develop the feature, and then try to improve that and see the impact if it is working or not.
I see. Interesting.
And just one thing more. Sorry to cut you off. So regarding the release, so some companies have different kind of release mechanism. So here in Hunger Station, so we have bi-weekly every week release. So the features are merged by Sunday, and after that the release is triggered, and every Monday we have a new release for mobiles.
I see. Okay. And like you work the same way, even you're not working on the same team, right?
You kind of can say the same.
So you're working on the same application or two different applications?
No, we're working on the same application. So delivery apps usually have this customer application where you order them like stuff you want. Also, there are some rider apps for the delivery guys, etc. At Hunger Station, we only build the customer app. Because the rider app, everything is already provided by Delivery Hero, as I said. So like there is kind of a fundamental system under the hood. And when you are making an order as a user, it also goes to the same system as Delivery Hero provides. Like even Talabat and everything, they have the same system. Like of course they don't have access to each other, but the system under the hood is the same. That's why like many parts of the app are already out of the scope. They're built already.
I see.
So you only have to build the customer-facing app. So in our case, Abdul-Bassit is building AdTech. He's working in AdTech, which builds advertisement inside the app. Right? It can be basically when you see a list of restaurants, and some restaurants are, for example, always coming on top. They have advertisement tag, and they're always on top. Or, for example, you are scrolling, and then inside the list of restaurants, you see some different kind of item, right? You see inside the vertical list, you will see horizontal list. Or on top of the page, you may see some like promotional banners, and then when you click on it, you will see a list of restaurants who are under this promotion. For example, like if you order in next 1 hour, you'll get this discount, for example.
Or free delivery.
Or something like this. So this all is considered as advertisement technology. And this is what AdTech Squad is doing. So advertisements can be all around the app. They can be in the restaurant list, they can be in inside the settings page, etc. That's why advertisement tech, it kind of interacts with all of the app. But all of these parts of the app, like list of restaurants, search screen, like order screen, everything, they have their own team. So there is team who is responsible for each of these screens. In our case, my squad is responsible for the grocery shopping. So whenever you see a list of the supermarkets, for example, and then you select a supermarket, and then the supermarket page is opened, this is when my work starts. So supermarket homepage, list of the products inside the supermarket, the search inside the supermarket, and then cart page. Everything is my squad, which is quick commerce.
And how did you manage to keep everything separated? So do you have like some restrictions? There is each team has these modules, and he doesn't have the right to change other modules, or?
So mainly we have like the modularization. So if you have heard about the Spotify squad kind of architecture, so there is Spotify squad model. So every like as Yusuf mentioned that like for every screen or for every kind of vertical, we have different teams that they work on. So it's modularized in that manner, like per squad. So each squad have their own module and they work on that.
I see.
And suppose because I'm in the ad tech, so we normally have to collaborate or like add some stuff on the screens that belongs to some other squads. So in that way, like we just align with them, like this is the feature that I want to develop. So what do you think about that? And is this current approach that I will be doing, so is it aligned with your squad or not? So after that, like we develop the stuff there in their modules, but mainly like it is separated in modules. So every squad is responsible for their own module.
Yeah, I see. Interesting. Okay. Okay, nice. And how many people do you have in each team? So how usually the size of the team?
Basically, if you're talking about the feature teams, for example, like ad tech team or quick commerce or post order team, they have like in average one person per technology. So they will have one Android engineer, one iOS engineer, one product manager, one engineering manager. Then there might be like one or two or several backend engineers. For some reason, we have this tendency of having many backend engineers per squad. Like when they have only one front-end engineer. So it can be like 5-6 people working together on the same thing.
I see. Okay, interesting. Because a lot of people are trying to find the best, the fast way to get features and so on, and sometimes they try to have a team of 3 developers. So if I want to double the speed, I'll put 6 developers, and he think that the speed will double. So but I think this small teams approach is very interesting. Like to have a single, for example, Android developer working on a single feature, on a kind of modules that is working on. I think it's interesting, and it can improve and boost performance of the team.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like in that manner, so each squad is independent, right? They don't have to wait for any resources. Like we need that and those. Also regarding the like you mentioned that they want to release fast, right? So basically back in my previous organization, Sa'da, so we used to do TDD and like mobbing and pair programming, test-driven development and those things. So in my opinion, I think that is the best way to deliver fast. Because suppose if you are in a team where there is just one Android developer, right? So what if he goes on vacation? The team is now like it's totally blocked. And like if there are every single like just a single backend developer, right? So what happens in the TDD and mobbing is that when you are doing mobbing, so each team, like the whole team, they know about the stuff that are going on because in normally they are working in silos, right? So maybe like me and Yusuf, we are on the same team, but I am on the front end, he is on the back end. So I don't know like what Yusuf is working on, like in which like I know from the status that this ticket is in progress or it is done, but I cannot know like in which position currently Yusuf is in. And like what if Yusuf gets ill or he goes for vacation. So in the mobbing, so what you do is like the whole team tries to develop and like switch after every 5 to 10 minutes. And even if you don't know the technology, like I can work on the back end, the back end guy can work on the front end. So in that way, like the whole team is synchronized and like the knowledge is shared. So in case something happens, the team can progress and move forward. So I think that's the best way. And in that way, like you when you are doing the TDD and the product is very stable because you write the test first, you think of the scenarios that you will have and you write tests for those and then you implement that. So the product that comes out of that process, it's very polished and it have like very less bugs in those things. And also like if you catch a bug before starting, so it's less costly as compared to like once you have released or done some stuff like that. So this is my like perspective because we used to have that process and I felt like it was really amazing.
Okay, interesting. Do you have something about this topic to say?
Yeah. So one thing I noticed about these bigger companies, as Abdul said, I also had a very small experience working in big companies before.
Yeah.
Like mainly with startups, or I was either only Android engineer, or there were like 2-3 people like beside me, right?
I see.
Like the bigger company gets, the more critical it becomes to communicate correctly.
Yeah.
Because even if we look at the technological perspective, we are building like some components, some screens, right?
Yeah.
For example, as in Abdulbasit's squad in AdTech, if you build something, you should be able to integrate this component to the different parts of the app, different screens, right? It means that you have to communicate to different teams owning these screens, right? You have to make a contract that you need this data, this data. Is it possible to get this data in this screen, for example, if we're talking about technology only, right? And in the same manner, if you are talking about some high-level stuff, if, for example, in our teams, it's very important to get the correct estimates for what you want to build. Because let's say, like there is some idea that product team, the business wants to test first. They want to see if it is going to bring money or not. But if it takes 6 months to build this feature, right? Or you make an estimate that will take like 2 weeks, but it takes like 2 months. It totally ruins the whole idea, right? Like, what if at the end of the day it turns out that this thing is not useful, it doesn't bring money, or it doesn't improve the metrics and impact? So it becomes very important to communicate correctly, to do estimations correctly, to communicate to the management the expectations. Because I know that every engineer, everyone, we don't like saying that this is hard, this is not going to work, this is going to take a long time. We don't want to make people unhappy, right? We always want to say something that people will like to hear. And managers also want to hear something good. They don't want to hear that, okay, this will take too long, this is too complicated, etc. But this is the thing. If you don't communicate it earlier, it's going to backbite later on. As Abdulbasit says, like if you identify the problem, the bug earlier, it'll be cheaper to fix it, right?
True.
The same with the estimations, with the communication. If you communicate the problems or the foreseen potential problems earlier, it'll be cheaper to fix them.
I see.
Because sometimes you may not even start doing this thing because you already see there are lots of potential problems and it'll take too long, and at the end of the day, the outcome will not be worth it. Right? Or even if you decide to do it, you already know what problems you have to solve first. So this is something that I learned working in bigger company, that in bigger companies, your technical skills, etc., they're important, but they're already kind of guaranteed things. So if you're coming to a big company, if you're interviewed, it's assumed that you already have tech skills, that's fine. Now what you need to improve is your soft skills. The way you communicate things, the way you plan, the way you make the estimates and everything, it becomes much more important. Because again, if you already have 10 years of experience building like applications or doing something, you're most probably already expert in doing your job. But now what's more important is to communicate to people, to managers, to business, because you can build stuff, but they should be on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. You should have the same goals, actually.
And just to add to that one, like as you mentioned that like normally when you are doing software development, right? So people focus on their coding skills. Like they want to have like a good grip on the data structures and algorithms and know about the libraries and the language and these things. But nobody thinks about the soft skills. It's normally being kind of ignored. If you you ask a software engineer that you need to focus on the soft skills, where you're like, I need to focus on coding, right? But that's not the case because in normally like it is assumed that when you are doing software development, so you will be mostly like interacting with the machines, but that is not the case if you're working in an organization. So in that way you have to like know
have a good communication skills.
Good communication skills. You have to communicate with your managers, your surroundings, and also with the customers. So you need to know about, like when you are working on a software, so you need to know about the customers, what are their psychology, how they are thinking, and how they are using the app. Like from the coding perspective, everything will be top notch. But if it is not appealing to the customer, or if there is something missing, right? So it will never work. So that is the most important thing, that you have to think for the communication skills, and also care about your customer, like who, for whom you are building that app, and how they think, what are their psychology.
Can you talk a bit about AI? Do you use AI?
Yeah, sure. We use AI a lot. To be honest, I was very skeptic about it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I think 2023, when ChatGPT was introduced, like end of 2022. I kind of used it a couple of times. I liked it, but for my work, I wasn't really using it because I had some negative experience doing this. Once at my job at that time, we had React Native. I was building stuff using React Native. I didn't know React Native at all, but this was the company's strategy. We were just expected to work on everything. We were software engineers, right? So I started building some feature using React Native, and I was heavily using ChatGPT for that. It was almost writing everything for me, and it was working. Like, I was happy. Like, in a week, I built some stuff. I think it was push notifications. At the end of the day, I learned out, like, when we just wanted to roll this feature out, I learned that the framework that it suggested to use, it was deprecated. It was not supported anymore. So all of the work I did was basically garbage. Like, I couldn't use it. There was some other framework that that it was used, but because I wasn't a React Native engineer, like, I didn't have experience, I didn't know that this is deprecated stuff. Because it was working. For me, it was working. After this, I became a bit skeptical about AI.
I see.
And I think it was justified, because like a year ago or 2 years ago, it wasn't that great. Like in 2023, it was doing lots of hallucinations. It was giving the code that doesn't exist, that doesn't work. Right?
Libraries that
it was just coming up with libraries and everything. But then a year ago, when I joined HungerStation, I started to use it more. Like, I was using ChatGPT for a long time, but then I discovered Claude for myself, and now I'm using Claude more because it gives better results in terms of software engineering. And it's really nice, especially like heavy tasks I use it for are writing unit tests. Because like sometimes you feel lazy about it. You know, you don't want to. Unfortunately, I don't plan the test cases beforehand. That's why, like, I first build the code, and then I need unit tests on the code that's already built. So, but even aside from that, I'm like, I think nowadays I'm using more AI agents rather than the Google search. Before, I would search something on Stack Overflow. I'm doing this more on ChatGPT or Claude because it kind of gives you in most of the cases, the final solution. In Stack Overflow, you have to go through the answers yourself. You know, some do work, some doesn't work. Of course, it has still its mistakes that it makes, so you have to be extra careful. You cannot like trust 100% what it gives you.
You need to know what this code does.
Yes. Sometimes I see the answer and I know like already that it's not gonna work. Most probably he's doing some bullshit. So this is why nowadays it's important. Like, still companies cannot just rely on AI agents as an engineer. So you still need some engineers who understands what's going on. But companies now, they can hire less engineers.
I see.
Right? Because most of the work can be done using AI. Just some engineer, experienced one, have to just, supervise the AI.
Less engineers, and it gets harder for juniors, because first now you need to become better than the AI to get a job. So if the AI is better than you, so what's the point of hiring you in a company?
Exactly. But again, as I mentioned, in bigger companies, basically what AI is doing nowadays is just replacing the tech skills, like writing code, right? But in bigger companies, tech skills are not as important because more important skills are soft skills, like communicating, estimating, planning, everything. This is more important. And AI cannot do this now. You still need lots of improvement in AI for it to become to be able to replace a person. Right? Because there is a huge problem with context. Right? AI does not really remember the whole context, etc. Some things that people understand on, like, even without telling it, right? AI does not like know this yet. So, for example, if Abdulbasit tells me some problem, I already can assume the background.
Yeah.
If he asks me about the component I built, which is he is working on now, I already know the background.
Yeah.
So he cannot do this directly to AI.
Yeah.
He first has to provide the whole code base, the expectations of the business, etc. Right?
Yeah.
But I already know this stuff because I work at the same company, I work at the same technology and the same products and projects.
I see.
So these things, like the things that basically make us human, is the things that AI is lacking.
Yeah.
And basically, if you correctly understand such limitations it has, you can actually use it even better.
Yeah.
Because you will not be relying on it for some things that it cannot do.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. So I think we can finish, but just if you have something to say. So if you have something to say about AI or any advice to the.
Yeah, so I think nowadays like mostly the AI agent that I'm using is Juni. It's from JetBrains, and I think it's really amazing. Like when you ask it about something, and the fun thing about that is like it automatically changes your files. Like if normally what happens is that you ask the Chat GPT.
So for people who doesn't know, Juni, it's similar to Cursor AI.
Cursor, it's kind of similar thing. And normally like if you are interacting with a chat with the AI agents, so in that way like you have to pick the files and copy paste and do it's like
stuff.
So it's a bit boring, but Juni does that in itself for you. And I think behind the scenes, so they are also using the Claude AI and like different Anthropic and different models that they are using. But I think that's really amazing, and I think most of the things are done by Juni. You just ask it and it will do that for you. And to iterate on Yusuf's point, so he said that like we are still humans, right? And the thing was sometimes ago, because normally like every day there is a new startup which says that we don't need developers anymore, right? And people are like, oh, what we are gonna do? So I asked a product manager like in the development community. So people are always like, oh, our jobs are gone, and now the AI will be taking the everything. And he just tell me like, for AI to replace me, it needs to exactly know like what it needs, what it wants to do. Like you cannot, but it cannot do that because it doesn't have the context. It's not a human, right? So it cannot think. So I believe that developer will be still in need, like in demand, and people will be using AI. Like it's the thing is that it can facilitate you, right? It's like IDE are to complete things. So it's better to have like leverage that you already have and work on that. And another thing I'd like. When you are interacting with the agents, right? So it gives you like different answers, and sometimes it's like some of the SDK things or like the library thing that you have not explored yet. Like recently I was fixing a bug, and I came to know that there was a function which was called ignore sequence or something like that. So it means like if you're adding fragments, right? So it don't have to do it sequentially, or like if there is like 3 to 4 commands coming, so it will ignore all of the other and just will pick the latest one. I didn't know about that before. So I think in that way you can explore the it will the unused stuff, like you don't know about it, and it will help you in knowing about that.
Okay, nice. So do you have a last word for beginners, for students, for developers?
Yes. First of all, if you are beginning your career, so as Yusuf mentioned, that better to go with the AI. But if there is no opportunity for AI, so I would go for backend development. That's my perspective, because there are more Java opportunities, and there are more stuff to do there, because in the front end, so it's mostly static, like you just get the data, you display it. But on the back end, so there are more dynamic things, like you have the service limiter, like a lot of circuit breakers and a lot of going on in there. So I would say that explore backend if there is opportunity. Otherwise, go to come to the mobile side. And apart from that, I think we already mentioned in the podcast, it's 1,000 hours, right? So normally people think that 10,000. Oh, okay, it's 10,000 hours. So normally people are disappointed, like I don't know much, or like maybe I'm not made for that software
thing,
development.
yeah.
So my suggestion would be like keep pushing, and nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
Like do that, and like once you reach the 10,000 now, so it will be like a piece of cake for you. So,
yeah, interesting, nice, thank you. Your last word.
Yeah.
What do you have as an advice?
I agree with Abdul-Basit. Basically, if you want to pursue the IT career, ultimately it doesn't really matter which technology you're using, right? So you can focus on the market opportunities. So if you're in Tunisia, it can be a bit different. If you're in Egypt, it can be a bit different, right? So focus more on the way you can get your internship or a job. So for example, if your market does not have mobile opportunities, focus on something that it has. We're saying ML, but maybe ML and data science and AI stuff are not actually that common yet in your market. In that case, focus on something that's common, like front-end or back-end engineering. Because again, as I noted at some point, you just have to start doing stuff. You have to show up. You have to start doing stuff. And having a job or an internship it makes it much easier. And also, of course, there are some specifics of the educational system or the government or whatever. But I would recommend to start working and doing internship while you're studying at the university. Like not wait until you finish it. Because if you finish the university and only after this you start looking for opportunities, you can basically waste your time. Like maybe by the time when you graduate, the things that you learned will not be in demand anymore. Like you learn C# or Java, but after 3 years there are no Java opportunities or C#. Right? So I would suggest start working at the university, and basically the skills to do many things at the same time, it's actually very important. Like I know that many students, they think, okay, I have university, so I'm already busy, so I should not work, I should not basically worry about anything. I have my university. I think this is not the correct approach, because in the life you don't have this luxury, basically focusing on something, right? You always have to do multiple things at the same time. Like even if you have a job later on, you will have a family to take care of. You'll have something else to take care of, and you should be you should be ready for such things. And as much things as you try to do during your university times, like easier it will become when you basically graduate. Right? Like many people I know who are successful, they were not only studying when they were in university. Someone was working, doing internship, someone was building some project, someone was running some business or doing something extra aside from the university studies. So I recommend to start whatever you want to do, like whatever career you want to have, while you are in your university. Like preferably even before that. Started before university. But while you're at the university, don't waste your time on the studying only. Like it's not waste of time, but I mean you have lots of free time.
Exactly. We can do more than just studying.
Exactly.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you guys.
I wanted to add one point more. So I would say that network with people. They say that like your network is your net worth, right? So I believe that like in the field that you are interested in, try to connect with people. Just drop them hi message, or like just have a connection with them. So
it's important.
It will unblock a lot of things for you, and it's really crucial.
I think that's totally true. Like like in LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, you can
just connect with people.
Follow the community, and like now if you open a LinkedIn or Twitter, like the whole timeline is just about the Kotlin, Android, and all of this stuff.
Exactly.
Interesting. It was a pleasure to meet you guys today. Thanks for your time. So
well, thank you for
thank you.